of all strength. Any energy that I had was just gone. It was I don't know if this is in the Bible or not, but I think that the strength of hope is in God. And without God, without any hope, you don't really have a reason to live. You don't have a reason to fight. You don't have any strength whatsoever. So without hope, you don't have strength. And I know that's kind of grasping at straws in a way, but for me it makes sense. And after hope left me and I was just kind of like going along for the ride, just numb, realizing that this thing was taking me wherever it wanted to take me, that's the next thought that came to me, is where is it taking me? And then the thought instantly came to my mind, the answer did. And the answer was, it's taking you to hell. Now, when I grew up in a Baptist church, I was taught hell was fire and brimstone. That's an empty void of an area, but that's also in the Bible too. We just don't pay much attention. And they shall be cast out into outer darkness, where there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The outer darkness that they're speaking of is where I landed. For those who are evangelical and believe that hell was literally split in half at one time before Jesus died on the cross, into one part that was called Abraham's bosom, and to another part that was the portion of fire where people were still tortured, as Jesus talked about it in one of his parables. I think this was one of those things that was not really a parable. I think it was a true story of Lazarus and the rich man, where the one was being consoled in Abraham's bosom, and the other, and only separated by a short distance by an impassable chasm. But I think that they were both portions of those things were in hell, but the demons couldn't cross over into the nice part. And I believe, and this is just my own personal assumption, that when Jesus descended down into hell, he descended not down into the fire and brimstone portion of it, but down into the Abraham's bosom portion of it, and he took those people back with him, and more or less took the land with him and all the people, and connected it to the city of God, which is where he came from. He connected that outer portion of green land where there was water. Remember, because Lazarus said, the rich man said, if Lazarus could just dip his finger in water and bring it over here, because I'm burning up in these flames. There was water there, so there was land there was grass there was trees there. I mean, it was a viable land as much as this earth is a viable land, just in a heavenly realm sort of way. But anyway, I understood that it was taking me to the portion that certainly anyone would not want to go to, which was the fire and brimstone portion. It was going to take me to that fiery lake and cast me in, and I understood that. And when I understood that, it was mortally appalling, is the only way I can put it. I mean, it played over and over in my head again. It's taking me to hell, it's taking me to hell, it's taking me to hell. And there was just nothing I could do. Nothing I could do to stop it, nothing I could do to prevent it. And I just kind of dropped my head. And while this is playing over and over and over in my head that it's taking me to hell, and I saw this pinpoint of light, well, before I saw the pinpoint of light, I started thinking to myself, this is wrong. I'm not a bad guy. I've never murdered anyone. I've never molested any children. I've never raped any women or done anything just drastic that would cause you to be placed in hell for sure. For me, I was just an average person. I drank a few beers, smoked a few cigarettes. I wasn't like into drugs or anything like that. I mean, I was just an average guy. I go to church every once in a while, So I didn't really picture myself as bad, not bad enough to end up in hell, but one thing that I understand now is there's plenty of good people in hell. A lot of people that used to call themselves Christians are there, and it's because they didn't really devote their life to God. They lived one foot in and one foot out like I did, And you don't have to be a bad person to go to hell. All you have to do is just be average. God doesn't call us to be average. He calls us to be holy, like He is, And what that really means is you gotta, for lack of better words, you don't have to become a Bible-thumping Christian, but you should devote your life to God for as much as you possibly can. And if that puts me in the category of Bible-thumping Christian, then so be it. I'm a Bible-thumping Christian. I would rather be that than in the middle. Because I know where the in the middle gets you. It gets you in the same place that being fully against Him gets you. It's kind of like He said in Revelations 3:20, I wish that you were all the way for me or all the way against me, but because you were in the middle, because you were lukewarm, I spit you out. I don't want to be that again. I don't want to go back to hell. I know it's there, and I know the place is not made for us. It was made for them, and we just unfortunately do not realize the reality of the place. The reality of the place is far worse than you can imagine, and I only experienced a taste of it. I landed on the doorstep of hell, is the way I like to look at it. Or you can even say I landed in the middle of hell, but it wasn't fire and brimstone, although I know for certain that it does exist because that's where it was taking me. And although I never laid eyes on the flames, I know that they really do exist. But as I was thinking this to myself, that I'm not such a bad guy, why am I ending up here? That's when that light appeared. And I looked up at it, it looked like a star far off in the night sky. Something so tiny and insignificant and far away that it couldn't possibly help me. And then I saw it moved off to the left a little bit, and I picked my eyes up, and my head up, and I looked at it, and I thought to myself, did we just change direction, or did it move? And it went back to the right, and I thought for myself, no, for certain, we didn't change direction, it moved. And I thought to myself, what is that? And as I thought that, and began to focus in on it, it just came rushing at me like the only way I can describe it is the speed of this thing was like a bolt of lightning. It came at me so fast that one moment it was just like a tiny little star in the night sky, and the next minute, white, bright, blinding white light. And His hand was reaching down to me, and it was an angel. Sorry. And my hand just reached up and grabbed its hand. I was thinking to myself, I'm going to reach up there and grab His hand, and this hand is going to save me, because that's all that I saw was just a hand. But my hand knew what to do. It was like having a baseball thrown at your head. Somebody says heads up, and you just reach up and grab it. It's a reflex. My hand just reflects. And a reflex just jumped up and grabbed this angel's hand. And as soon as I touched its hand, we were all motionless and all standing back up on this ground that you can't see. And this beast, this demon, it still had me by the shoulder. It was kind of almost even leaned over a little bit to grab me by the shoulder. And I could instinctively, I knew to stand still, because if I had moved, I know that would have ripped my shoulder and my arm off at the same time and just beat me with it. I mean, the thing was just that massively strong. I knew within me there was something telling me, don't move. And I'm just standing there staring up, looking at this angel. And the angel itself, to describe it for you, was 9 feet 6 inches tall. It had brown wavy hair pushed to the back. It had an olive color skin. It wasn't really white, it wasn't really black, it was somewhere in between, but the light that was emanating from within it was so bright white that it almost practically overshadowed the color of its skin. You couldn't even really, you had to stare to see the color of its skin. And I keep saying it because it's an it. It's not really a he or a she. Although the body is shaped like a he, okay, it's shaped like a male. When you look at its face, the face is like the most handsome man that you've ever seen, blended in perfectly with the most beautiful woman that you've ever seen. I mean, when you look at this angel, you think to yourself, wow, he is beautiful. And I know that's some odd words to say. In the English vernacular, the male is known as handsome and the female is known as beautiful. But this angel was absolutely beautiful. There's no other words for it. And its eyes were blue, and I mean, when I mean blue, I mean perfect blue, like someone took a portion of the sky and put it in its eyes, or dipped a cup out of the ocean and poured it into its eye. There was no flaw in it, no flaw. Perfectly beautiful in all ways. Other than its face looking like the cross between a man and a woman, and I don't mean like, oh, is it Pat? No. I mean just beautiful. It was completely shaped like a man. You could see it underneath its white robe. It had chest and it had strong arms. It had an Adam's apple. I mean, it was every bit shaped like a man, and a strong one. I mean, just strong, but not like overly ridiculous like this. It wasn't bodybuilder. It was more like fitness trainer strong. It wasn't like bodybuilder strong where it just had muscles popping out of everywhere it shouldn't have been, like this demon. But you could tell it was, this angel was there to fight. And he had on a white robe. It was cut down in a V in the front with gold lace. I guess, I don't even know what to call it, like embroidered gold around the edges of its collar, and not lace, but embroidered gold. And the sleeves came just below the elbows, and this robe was kind of like a white Roman tunic robe. I guess that would be the best way of putting it. And it came just below its knees, so its knees and its elbows were covered. And I was just so blown away by the beauty of it that I didn't even really check to see if it had any shoes on or not. I don't really remember. All I know is it was big. Not as quite as big as the demon, but big enough. And I'm looking up at it, and I'm just blown away by its brightness and its beauty. And at the same time, I'm just frozen in place, because I know that if I move this thing, it's going to rip my shoulder off and just beat me with my arm. And this thing, I can feel its anger, this demon's anger, like heat from a fire. And it turns around like this to see what had stopped it and why. It wanted to know what had stopped it and why. Because technically I was right where I belonged, and once you're there in hell, you don't normally get a chance to leave. So it owned me like a piece of furniture, like your car. It owned me, and it wanted to know why it was being stopped. So it turned around and was ready to fight. Make no mistake, this demon was ready to get down in the worst way. But as it whipped around, this angel its speed was incredible, and it just rushed forward and with an open palm hit this demon, and it had to angle its arm upwards at about the height of its head to hit this demon in the chest. And it hit this demon with such power. I mean, I can't describe the fierceness of the power of this thing, but it hit this demon with such force that its hand was literally ripped from my shoulder. It had no clue what had hit it. By the time it had even turned its head, it was already hit.